Hello and welcome to Center for Victory's podcast of your best day yet. At Center for Victory, we're here to help unlock, reinforce, and enrich relationships through personal and professional development. I'm Eric Guy, Chief Victory Officer here at Center for Victory. Following up on an episode that we think just recorded a week or so ago. We talked about your inner circle. We called it Everybody Needs a Dawn. And in there, I talked about a good friend of mine who's in my inner circle, who I cherish a lot. But some of those things and the reasons why we talked about that inner circle was really when people were starting to create goals and things of that nature at the beginning of the year, trying to get clarity on what they want. A lot of people that they put themselves around are either going to build them up or bring them down. So getting into a place where we can get that inner circle, and that inner circle needs to be those go-to people to whom you can get clarity or get clarity in your thoughts and get rid of the dilemmas that you may have in any area of life, may it be personal, professional, whatever. We quoted Jim Rohn when he said, show me the 5 closest people that you have, and I'll show you, your friendships, either, when we have people around us that are problematic, or if they lift us up, if they edify us. But he really said, in all areas of your life, give me those 5 people that are closest to you, and I'll show you how you probably behave financially, relationally, in your family, outside your family, in your community, ethically, mentally, spiritually. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. But piggybacking on what we said from last time, we talked about some of those characteristics. And again, not an all-inclusive list, but just some things to be thinking about. Some of the things that I talk to people about when they're trying to create that inner circle. That list that we went over last time in our last podcast was loyalty. We talked about that with loyalty to the relationship, and then that moved us into relationships. So somebody in that inner circle who's a true friend isn't put off by other relationships that you have, actually encourages them. Privacy was a big one that we talked about last time, and keeping everything secret. So you share that with people, and you want them to be able to keep your confidence. And so that's what we would also find in another characteristic of someone who would be in that inner circle. Respect, we talked about that. Definitely, I'd shared with that story about, my inner circle, one of those people being Don, lots of respect and admiration for him just because of his politeness, his kindness. He does what he says he's going to do, and you can always count on him. So I have much respect there. The other 2 were vision. Of course, that's what we were, that got us on the subject of that inner circle. So your inner circle is going to play a huge role in the development as a human being, and that person that's in that inner circle, or people that are in that inner circle, need to help you with that vision, with that direction. Okay. And then the last one, communication, obviously kind of tends to go back a little bit to the relationships, but more so that inner circle with those relationships speaks and behaves and communicates in a way that is reinforcing to what you're going to do. And all those things are good characteristics. And I think if you're going to develop that inner circle, those are good things to have in yourself as well. But the question came up after that podcast of, okay, those are great characteristics to look for, but are there any things that we should be looking for in terms of what to eliminate? Are there people that need to be out of the inner circle, and how do we know if they need to be out of the inner circle, what are some other things that we can do? But I'll start first with a quote from W. Clement Stone. It says, "Be careful the environment you choose, for it will shape you. Be careful the friends you choose, for you will become like them." Okay, so with that, the first thing I think you can do, again, as another tip to create that inner circle, is just immediately cut ties with toxic people. And the dilemma here, I think, for some people is those people could be harder to get rid of because they might be people they work with or even in their family. But that toxicity is just going to ooze into you. So that, immediately cut ties with that. Don't have that in your environment. If you know they're toxic, get rid of them. There's always other people around. You don't need a person around you that's toxic. Getting into what we just said with those characteristics of that inner circle is continuing to build strong and deep relationships with just a vital few. Yeah, I think we said this in the first round of the podcast. But you don't need a whole lot of friends. You just need a few good ones. And I think what we have going on today with social media and all the connections, and somebody's a friend, but we've never met them, but we're connected with them somehow on social media. That's not a relationship necessarily. It doesn't mean they're a bad or good person. It just means when we're developing those ties, we want them to be strong. They want them to be deep. And you want to go back to those characteristics that we just went over: loyalty, respect, those kinds of things, and have that with those people. One of the best ways to have that is also to create or be part of a mastermind, a group. I've been in groups before. I've been in, continue to be a member of what's called Vistage, which is just a CEO advisory group. It's been extremely helpful over the past 13 years. Those folks in there have really built me up, and it's, that they're close when one retires, like they have in the past year or two, when one retires or moves on from their company, and then you're missing something. So that, those kinds of people, when you have that group, some folks that can get behind you, listen to your challenges, your issues, your problems, give you good advice, support you. It's always good to have that and be part of that consistently. And that's the other piece, be part of that consistent. It's not something that you just attend every once in a while. This has to be ongoing, monthly, biweekly, whatever it might be, but more consistent than just meeting once or twice a year. The fourth piece, which I really believe in, is to get a formal mentor. It's always good to have coach, mentor, whatever. I've had one, and I think he's 30 years my senior, but has become a tremendous friend. And all those attributes that we went over, you will find in him. I mean, it's just a great person, all around person. Meet with him every month, just for coffee, for tea, whatever. Go through what's on my mind, good, bad, or otherwise. And then, because of his experience, is able to direct and give me some direction. And, with that comes direction that you might not want to always hear sometimes, but he's always led me in the right direction. And then lastly is to be the friend you want to have, which is, again, goes back to those characteristics. If you want a good inner circle, cut ties, build strong relationships, build that group, get a mentor or mentors, but also be that friend you want to have, be that inner circle that you want to have. Give those things, give that loyalty, give that time to develop those strong and deep relationships. But the other thing I think that goes along with that, and this is kind of just a bonus, this would be like a next thing that we help people with, and we hear a lot, is, how do we know that inner circle? Is there a guideline? Is there a checkbook? Kind of a scorecard? And my answer would be yes. I mean, one of the things that we've done here inside our company, but also personally between my wife and I, and now our kids, is we want to make sure that those people in that inner circle match with our core values. We have some quirky core values. They're the same for our business as they are for personal. A lot of times that doesn't happen, but the nature of our business being smaller, our personal life has bled into a lot of the business. And, I was just matching up our core values, our 5 core values, again, with Dawn. Let me use Dawn as an example. So this is kind of Dawn part 2. And he checks all the boxes. And again, knowing that he's part of that inner circle, not only are those things that we talked about in the last podcast and just briefly went over here, but as you look at the core values of our company, more cowbell, that's one where, when one wins, everyone wins. It's pretty simple there. He's always gets excited for, when somebody, myself included, when they have any kind of wins at home, in business, in the community, always celebrating. Our second one, Be Like Fred, which is Fred Rogers. If you're not familiar with Fred Rogers from Pittsburgh, hey, Mr. Rogers neighborhood. Our core value there, Be Like Fred, is just to be a good person, to be giving, to have a servant's heart. And again, I would say Dawn ranks up there really, really high in that one. I mean, just an unbelievable giver, server. I was with him over the weekend, and I was listening to him talk to someone, and somebody asked him, hey, can we do this to raise some money for something? And he didn't even bat an eye. He's like, yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but the response that came out of him was, yeah, we'll make it happen. Our third one, GSD, Get Stuff Done, which is my wife. That's the friendly version. Okay. But this guy's a go-getter. He gets it done. He figures it out. He doesn't just sit around and wait for something to happen. He makes it happen. Be Like an Eagle, which is just all about an ownership mentality. He checks that box as well. Very highly. Anything that he does, even in what he does as a profession, he doesn't own the company, but you wouldn't know it. He definitely acts like an owner. He has the owner's best interest in mind. So he checks that box as well. And then the last one for sure, our core values: don't whine, shine. The guy's just been through so much, especially lately. And every time I see him, he's got a smile on his face. Lots going on, but he's never going to complain. He's always going to try to find a solution or ask somebody, but he definitely is a bright point in a lot of people's lives, and has been a bright point in mine for many, many years. So I hope this helps. It's always a good discussion to have, especially at the beginning of the year when you're setting goals. Who's going to hold me accountable? How will I do this? Who's going to support me? Who's going to build me up? So hopefully these past 2 podcasts have been good. And if you don't, last piece of advice, if you don't have one, you got to get yourself a Dawn. So that's my last piece of advice with this podcast today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. If you'd like more information, you can always visit our website at centerforvictory.com. And always remember, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make this your best day yet. We'll see you next time.